And we're off. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew. This is the Systems Administration SIG, where we talk about the things that are in the admin module of Koha, which is a lot of things. And then we also talk about SQL because that's kind of tangential. And then, I don't know, we talk about whatever, because once you're in the admin module, it sort of creeps out. We have no set agenda. We just talk about stuff. Rebecca was talking about a report she's been working on to count holds. And a weird new wrinkle with item grouping holds. Is that where you place a hold that says, I want the first of these several wholly unrelated things?
Yeah, so the report I've been working on is item, or no, not item, holds by shelving location. So how many holds were placed on something? And I realized I have to use items permanent location, not items location, because that doesn't give, I forgot about the cart function. When I first did it, I'm like, this isn't working. And I just checked it in and I was like, something's wrong. And I'm like, oh yeah, permanent location. So yeah, I'm trying to find all the holds by a shelving location over a period of time. And Andrew and I were having a discussion about whether or not it's better to use the action logs or the reserves table. And because I have to go back more than 180 days, I have to use the reserves table and the old reserves table. So I put it into the reports channel on Slack because I was struggling. I could not count the holds that were unfilled. I could count the holds that had been filled or trapped or canceled, but the unfilled pending holds were the ones I was getting stuck on. So very nicely, so it's Stephen Spahn, very nicely wrote this lovely report, and it worked great with lots and lots of unions and things. But then I realized today that if it has an item grouping hold, when I place the hold is counted in the report, but when I check it in or check it out to the holding patron, the hold disappears from the report. And if I cancel the hold, it disappears from the report. So I don't know where item grouping holds go when they are not first reserved.
Yeah, so we don't do any item grouping holds, so I haven't looked at that data, but I do see that the reserves table now contains a column for item group ID. So that I would guess that's probably it. Like maybe if you do an item group hold instead of putting a biblio number in, you put in an item group ID.
Yeah, like I said, luckily for my purposes, we don't have item groupings on a lot of children's material, which is what specifically I'm looking at. But I think I'm gonna have to give this one a bywater. Anytime I get into the item groupings, I have to turn it over because it gets one, the field names are so long, like item underscore groupings dot item dot underscore grouping dot ID dot something something. I'm like, okay. Luckily for autofill, but when you're trying to do that and then remember which, I can't remember which field is which. I always have to look at, I wrote a report just to find like, this is the item group number, this is the item grouping number, this is the whole, like it gets confusing, but it really does work great. Like we love our item group holds. Like it makes a big difference because our catalogers can put everything on one bib and then we just add the groups to it and then they get, especially the travel books, 2024, and then now they're calling in 2022, 2021, the old materials. So
Oh, right. These are groups that you all define. I
yeah,
was
we
thinking
define.
isn't there another thing where like the patron can say, I want one of these three books and they sort of pick that group? Maybe that's a upcoming thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm
I don't
making
know.
something up entirely.
Yeah, I think that's the upcoming, well, I don't know where it is in development, but like the Ferberization of holds where it's like, I don't care whether it's the large print or the regular or the, yeah.
Right. Okay. That makes the data structure make more sense then. Yeah. So you've got the table of item groups and that links to the reserves. But yeah, that's a messy report. Ugh.
It's for smarter brains. My SQL, I don't have that level of ninja SQL skill. So maybe you and Jason, but not me.
I'd have to have something I really don't want to do to motivate me, like some
Yeah.
terrible administrative task.
So maybe when Bywater fixes the report for item groupings too, I'll post it to the wiki because it is a helpful report. And then the other one I was able to do myself was holds by item type, which is pretty easy. So that one was useful because they wanted to know board books, but we have the category, the shelving location of board books, but then we also have holiday books and Spanish books and bilingual books. So breaking that out by item type was much easier than shelving location. So it was a fun report though.
Well, cool. Anybody else have, I don't know, reports they've been working on?
I have
Things they want to brag on or ask about?
I have a report question. I am wondering, so if I have a list of borrower numbers, right now my thinking is I would use Excel and an index match to pull other info from the borrower table on those borrower numbers if all I have is the borrower number, or borrower ID. But is there a way in SQL to do that? Like to take a list and pull a report?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's a forever ago Nick wrote a plugin that let you do that let you run a report in a special way that you could run it against a list, and then that got added as an actual built-in Koha feature. So one of the runtime parameters you can pick as you're making a report is list, and then when you run it, it gives you a box sort of like the item batch modification. You just paste in your list of borrower numbers. Here,
Okay.
let me pull up a window.
Yeah.
Share that one. Oop. Oh no, I've done something terrible. Out of the way, Zoom. Oh, you know what? I've shared the wrong window. 1 second. Let me find the window that knows my library. I have too many screens. Okay. You go away. And then if we go to runtime parameters, there's an option for list. So then when I run that, it gives me a little box. Probably won't get me anybody. No. But yeah, depending on like where your list is coming from, there might be an easier way to do that. But as far as writing the report, that's the dead easiest.
That's perfect. The only thing I'm wondering is if it has a limit on how many of those you can put in there at a time. Like, is it 1,500 or?
Yeah, because there's some point at which it like the page will take too long to load.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
I can
and it's
probably
probably, yeah, it's probably somewhere in the 1,500 to 2,000 area.
Andrew, does it put the borrower number in the URL? Because I remember running into a problem where I had too many. I couldn't do as many as I wanted because the URL got way too long because for some reason it was putting that in there.
It does, like looking at that after I ran it. And that's standard for runtime parameters and reports. It puts them all into the URL of the report you're running. So yeah, at some point you'll have so many borrower numbers that it's trying to build all into the URL that the URL will get too long.
Ick.
Yeah, and there's kind of no way around that. I mean, you could also always put that list into your report. I have done that before. You just want that all of your numbers in one long comma separated string, which is its own like stupid mess to paste into your report. It makes your report like thousands of characters long. But I know somewhere I have a spreadsheet in Google Docs that exists only to take long strings of numbers and make them into one big dumb concatenated string. Because sometimes that's just the stupid way to do it.
I'll see what I can manage.
Yeah, the plugin version, the like run report from list plugin, I don't think it's probably been updated in a while, but it also had the ability to upload a file to like run your report from a text file. And that might work better if you have a really, really long list of stuff.
Did everyone
What?
make it to 2405 this week? No, Fred said no. Because we ran into a ton of bugs. I saw the Slack chat had some from another user, and I added some of mine to it, but it feels like every ticket I've put into Bywater in the last week has been a bug that they know about. So, I mean, that's good. But I was just wondering if anyone had any bugs that weren't addressed. I saw Jason's bug, but that seems like an old one. That failed QA.
Oh, that's the thing I was talking about.
That's the new feature we were talking about earlier.
And that is why, since I'm self-supported, I'm on 2311.
Yeah, does anybody have anything that's currently bugging them? It's so funny.
I put mine in the chat because if this doesn't get fixed soon, I think we're gonna have a mutiny. It's not
Ooh.
being able to sort by status field. I don't know what happened. It worked in 2305, and then we jumped over to 2405, and now no one can sort by status. And I never realized how many times a day I click on that stupid column.
Yeah, clearly we don't do that here, and it hasn't come up. That's part of what I love about upgrades. Like, oh, I never did click on that thing, but I can see why you would and why it would, how it could become very important to a workflow.
One of our ticket that we submitted that they turned into a bug is the check-in message when it wasn't previously checked out. It'll say in big red print, item was not checked in, and then not checked out right underneath it, not in red. And it's been causing some panic with staff because they think, oh no, is there an error? So we're hoping that gets fixed. Here's the bug, if anything.
I explained to myself, it's not so much a bug if you know what question it's answering, but if what you're doing is receiving a bunch of stuff that's in transit, and we have about 40,000 things a month that get transferred amongst our libraries, or they're checking in the delivery for the day, and it's the same message over and over again, which is completely irrelevant to the thing they're doing. So it's not helpful.
But it's technically correct.
It is technically correct if you're asking you know what question it's answering.
Yeah. There was, and I'm looking for it in the Bywater Partners Slack, somebody shared some jQuery to make that little item not checked in message go away entirely.
Saw that yesterday, yeah.
And then I wrote a quick patch to make that a little easier to hide in the future. I think it was.
I saw somebody else, I forget where I saw it, but somebody else like created the jQuery for protected patron. So I really appreciate that. Forgetting.
Yeah, we hit that one too.
Yeah, because permissions is for everybody, but like anybody can add it to yes or no. And if you want to change it anyway, all you have to do is just click edit and go back in and then change it to no and delete it. There was no way to kind of limit it.
And that's the flag to mark a patron as protected or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see how that's not something you want everybody changing all the time.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw a bug on that one to get a permission on that setting. It's been a while since I didn't write down the actual number though.
I'll put the bug number in the chat if anything.
The one that was posted in the chat about guarantors being able to be guarantees as well, like messing those up. We only have like 2 patron categories where that affects it, but it's ones where we don't want to lose the guarantor for sure, because there are like provisional accounts that we are a little stricter on. So we really want to make sure we have the parent attached. And so that's throwing a wrench. Either I'm going to have to create a new patron category, or we're going to have to put notes on every account until it's fixed. So that's frustrating.
Yeah, we did. We ran into that issue as well with one of the patrons. I've only seen it once so far. So I basically turned off all the ones that I could, and left the ones that are, like our main residence ones available, and try to just weed through it if possible. Hopefully it'll get fixed before too much of that happens. But yeah, I'm definitely feel you on that situation.
I'm not quite sure I understand the bug. Sorry. Could somebody simplify? What?
It was posted in the Bywater Slack, but basically if you have a patron category that is a type that can be a guarantor, and then you also check the box that says that they can be a guarantee, then it starts messing up those people when they try to check in or check out or look at their OPAC or anything. So if you have to turn that off for the category to make them to be able to use their account.
Okay.
And we have that for our other account because we don't want to lose the guarantor when we switch somebody to other. And then we have it for our provisional patrons because we didn't want to make a second category just for their kids because there's only a handful of them, but I might have to do that eventually. And we're seeing the thing, I was talking to Jason in the Slack about it, where we're seeing duplicates of holds. And it's annoying mostly because then when we print off the paging report, we think we need 2 copies of the book, but we don't. Or another library thinks that they should fill the hold and they don't need to because we actually have it. And it's only 2 copies on it. It's never like 3 of the same. It's always just 2.
And that's been more than annoying for us because we're so spread out and we're getting like a hold on one queue and then a hold on the queue where the library actually owns it. So items are coming from far away to fill a hold when it's sitting on the shelf there. So I've got to take it into Bywater about that, but hopefully they can get that fixed sooner
Is that
than
with the
later, 'cause-
real-time queue or the old standard one?
So there's a bug that implicates the real-time holds queue, but we don't use that. We do
Okay.
use the transport cost matrix, so I think it's probably related to because the upgrade refactored how that's doing stuff. And I don't fully understand it, but I'm guessing that the transport cost matrix is what's causing it.
Okay. Because I've
Um,
not had reports on that, but we don't use the transport cost matrix.
We do
your-
use it, and we don't have double holds, so it's a mystery.
Jason, how is your local holds priority set up?
we have it turned on, so local holds prioritization is turned on so that it should be filling copies with local copies first.
And that's what
Always.
ours is too. So I was wondering if that was related.
Yeah, maybe that's coming into play because it's putting that hold on, but also generating a hold for based on the transport cost matrix separate or something. It's definitely odd.
That
Yeah,
is-
I put a ticket into Bywater too, and I said, Jason says he has this problem too.
No, we do not use that hold priority, local hold priority either. Everybody's equal. As far as we're, first in line is first in line, no matter who owns the thing.
The bug that you shared, Jason, the 37594, Nick doesn't sound very confident on either. It's like sometimes you read a bug and you could tell like, oh, they don't have any idea what's causing this.
Well, and there's so many like things at play. It's gonna be hard to pin down.
Any other upgrade excitement? Complimentary or derogatory?
I had like broken slips when we first upgraded because for some reason my template toolkit, when I was bringing in news blocks to the issue slip, it had a little like pipe HTML in it, which I guess I needed in there to make it work at some point, and that was causing all the HTML to break. So I had to take those out of like every slip notice ever, which was fun. On top of replacing all my report links, which was fun, and I still don't think I've caught them all, but I haven't gotten any complaints, so that's telling me that people aren't actually using those reports anyways. So it's good data.
Sally and I were talking before this about a reports thing. Does anybody remember a bug enhancement to add like permissions to who gets to run which reports? I swear that exists. Maybe I made it up. Probably it's one of those bugs that like I've talked to people about how it should exist and no one has ever filed it.
So my issue is that we're a single library with lots of buildings and lots of staff, but it's one thing for a person to have access to a report or have access to information about the person standing in front of them, but not access to information about lists and lists of patrons. Like these are the people who've been reported to unique for collections. It's like it's just not those staff members' business, and those kind of reports exist. And I don't want people in there. So, but if I can't give them permission, then we can't use like the toolkit, template toolkit notice combination of the reports to make things available. So, Jason going.
I think he may have found it. I do like your idea of making the ability to download report data in a template a separate permission from the ability to just run a report. That makes a lot of sense. Those are pretty different use cases.
It came up recently post upgrade. I found out that staff for 2 years had been printing the item details page or trying to print the item details page, which is a horrible printable, not printable at all. But it's, and you can confirm this for me. I don't really remember what the behavior was like before the upgrade. But if you were looking at the item or title details item table, and there's the barcode and you click on that, it used to go, my impression from what I've been told is that it used to go to a single record, not the list of all of the items. And I don't think it's doing that anymore. I think it's doing the list of all of the items, which makes it not very printable. So what I was trying to do was create a button for them that says, here, hit that, and it'll print a report with the brief MARC record and then the item details of the thing you're looking for. And then I ran into the hurdle of they don't have permission to actually run the report. So
that link absolutely did used to take you to the items page, but like limited to one item.
Yeah. It looks like it's all of the items now, just focused on the particular item you're interested in.
Yeah.
Which makes it even less printable.
I hadn't really noticed that changed. Yeah, it jumps you to the item, but like still within the whole page.
It's one of those things, I don't do this, so I never really noticed it, but the people out at the branches do. And I'm like, oh, well, that could be a problem.
Yeah, so a printable template seems like a really nice answer.
Yeah. I've got the template, it looks great. I just can't give it to them yet. We're trying to figure out maybe some JavaScript to hide the report module just and then tell the people who need access to it where to look for it and hide it from everybody else, but give them permission to run reports, but make it hard for them to get to them or something in the meantime.
Jason did put a bug in
Yep.
the chat 37052 that is to add like a tiered permission structure.
Yeah.
I've totally messed up my windows now. Where is anything?
Oh, that's fairly recent. I would have surprised how recent that is.
Oh yeah, and then add privacy elements to reports. Those seem like kind of similar bugs.
I think that item display thing must be like a regression, because I found this bug that talks about restoring that behavior, but that behavior's not
Okay.
there anymore. And this was in 2305.
Not imagining things then.
My staff told me yesterday they think, this is tangenting on the idea of imagining things. They think that pre-upgrade Koha would tell them if they were about to place a second hold for the same patron on a title. And I'm like, what? I know it would have done that if that was in violation of the circ rules. Rebecca's nodding. She thinks it did say that. But I was like, I can't remember it and I can't prove it. And
I
maybe it
think
did.
It's the circ rule that says like number of holds on the copy. The one at the far the far end of that table. Because
Did I change our circ rules? Maybe.
we have our DVDs and audiobooks because of the item groupings to allow 8 holds, and like hardbacks are just 1 unless you're staff or some special card. So yeah, I do believe there is like, hey, you've already got a hold on this. Because I do have a duplicate. I know other people are running into the duplicate holds. We've been dealing with that because of this 8 level holds, and so sometimes people place like a popular DVD on hold and they'll be number 5 and number 105. So I just run a report and go through and cancel all those duplicate holds. It's much faster than letting staff pull them in. But that's why we're experiencing it, because we do allow 8 holds on a single item just to accommodate the item groupings.
What else is fun and exciting, y'all? What else is cool in your library? Or totally not cool?
I like the automatic change of the status when you put in the return claim and then it gives you the lost and paid for or lost and written off. That's helped a lot, especially where it used to be just long lost and overdue, whatever, and it was all clumped together, so I couldn't delete the items that, yeah, so I love that.
Yeah, that's one of those things that like claims returned obviously needed to be able to do from the get-go. So it's nice that it's gotten there.
Okay, how about something really frustrating?
Okay.
And I don't know if it's a cataloging thing or a sysadmin thing, but is it possible to upload a batch of MARC records and use the 001 as in a matching rule? Here's some background. We have a bunch of records from Rittenhouse, which come as their entire output, and you get 3 sessions each, after which you have to buy it or just delete it. And in order to delete a lot of them, I can either go one by one looking for the ISBN, or, here's an idea. How about if I add the 001 as the barcode? Because then I can just add all the barcodes, and Koha will let me do that. Well, what I'm trying to do is go back and add the 001 as the 952p in all our records, because I only thought of that a while ago. And I've uploaded it. Look for matching role 001, which I created in the admin function. Didn't match on anything. I also tried the 856U. That didn't do anything.
I can't think of any reason why an 001 matching rule would be impossible. I have one saved on my system right now, but I don't remember having used it anytime recently.
Are you using Zebra or Elasticsearch?
Zebra.
Okay, darn. I've also been trying to get Elasticsearch to install on 2311, and it blows up each time.
So you're also on Zebra?
Yes. I managed to install Elasticsearch 6, works like a charm. 7 or 8, no. So, also, I've been away a lot this year, so I've forgotten a lot of stuff. Do you know if anyone has made the definitive instructions on how to install Elasticsearch 7 or 8?
I do not, unfortunately. Just got a surfer error trying to download one of my own MARC records to try to re-import it and match it. That's not great.
Well, what I can do is delete all the current R2, and then just download it from OCLC World Share. That would wipe out the original dates I uploaded them. But that's not really an issue. Big issue.
There is an example in the manual, Fred, of using the control number in the 001 tag. I put the link in the chat. There's a screenshot of it.
Yeah, and that should do it. I mean, it's and yeah, that's the same. So the trick is knowing which search index the 001 gets indexed into, and I believe it is that control dash number. That's what I've got my rule set to, and I think that's what the manual said. Not that the manual is always correct about which MARC fields go into which search index.
Okay. Thank you.
And I usually test those by just like grabbing one of my own records and trying to match it to
Yeah.
itself over and over again.
Okay, I probably didn't put in the right search index.
One, I think they're case sensitive.
Okay. Yeah, I'm continuously faced with things that should work.
It sounds right.
And not just in Koha.
Speaking of the patron protection, I do have a project to put that on all our SIP accounts, because right now we just have notes saying, please do not delete these. That'd be nice to just kind of clean that up and lock those down. So that was a good add to it.
Can't remember if it was a bug or not, but I think I put in a request to have that built into the patron template. You know, when you create a new patron, like put that field so that when you're always creating like a staff account or something it's automatically protected, so you don't have to remember to go in and do it. If I can
What do you
find the
mean?
bugs, well,
So you
post it.
said you talked about template patrons, but you don't have like, I'm confused by your use of the term template because there aren't really like
Sorry.
patron
No,
templates, but
the admin, the patron categories part
so,
where you
okay.
set like which libraries can access them and
So to
the
say like whenever I
messaging
make a,
settings.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a
sorry.
default for that category. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I got all excited that you had some like more
Oh,
involved
no.
patron template system that I didn't know about.
Afraid not.
I'm
Nope,
like,
definitely
what
not
have
me.
you all invented over there?
Nothing fun. Although we did go live with an automated patron renewal service through UMS this week, which does database address updating for us.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
it's very, we're the first, of course, we're the first koha. We love going in that dark, scary cave first. But yeah, it actually runs at 45 days, runs the file and then says, okay, these are all the people that have moved. We have a whole spreadsheet about, or graph about, did they move inside the area? Did they move outside the area? Have they moved outside the area into the area? Or did they move, completely outside of the area, outside of the area? It's like all these different matches and which card category they're in. So, but then UMS is updating those automatically through Koha for us.
They're using the skip trace database, the addresses.
Yeah, some database. I'm not sure if it's skip trace or the.
Well, whatever they normally use for their collections, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice. It's been working really well on the test server. So we
Can you
just put it
say
on.
roughly how much each one of those costs you?
Oh, I
Because
don't
we
know.
looked into that and it was like, oh geez, we got enough people moving and volume that we're looking at $25,000 a year or something like that. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't handle contracts. That's
You just,
above me.
yeah.
I just set it up, make sure it works. But if you want to know, I can put you in contact with my boss. She might know. I'm sure
Oh,
she knows.
we have contacts at you.
Yeah.
Unique
But it
too.
is,
So
I know Koha has their own automatic patron renewal kit came out in 2405, and it just happened that ours came out right on top of it. We didn't know Koha was having a 2405 patron renewal, but that doesn't do the address updates. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a subscription that's gonna cost you for every hit.
Yeah. But the good thing is, people in our area move around so much because, it's just
Washington, DC.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
And then,
that,
we have a giant change of people every 4 years. So it just depends on, and our cards are good for 3 years now. So, but they said they have like an 80% success rate. So, and if the card fails, they still get our standard, hey, your card's going to expire. You need to come in and, but that's been a project we've been working on for 9 months. So, and it just launched this week. So we're pretty excited about it.
I lived in so many Craigslist houses when I was in Arlington County.
Oh yeah. Everyone does when they first move here, just trying to find some place. And that the housing here is nuts. A lot of group houses too for people who are just coming in. So
Yeah, I moved here in 1984, which is well before Craigslist. I was sleeping on a friend's couch.
Early Airbnb.
yeah.
Yes.
Early, you were the first couch surfer.
Probably. I've gotten renovated out of my house in North Carolina. Oh, Jason, I just tried it and it seems to be working. Thank you.
Yay. Kristi had a follow-up question on the UMS patron update, just confirming that it's checking the patron against a database to confirm the patron move, then updates the patron in Koha and also renews their patron registration in Koha.
Yes, all of that
Cool.
automatically. And if they're, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, if they no longer live in your service area where you don't have a non-resident fee, it just not
They don't
renew
renew
it?
them.
They don't renew
Yep,
that?
and then they send them the standard, hey, your card's about to expire in 45 days. Come into the library to renew it. Bring these things and
And your
to
credit
verify
card.
your account. Yeah, and we don't have out of area cards to that are paid for. So because our consortium of governments in this area, where all the governments in the DC DMV area all agree that if you live in one county or city or district, then you can go to another county, city, or district and get a library card for free.
Yeah, that doesn't work in our area very well. We're Knox County, Tennessee, and we're surrounded by small, low tax counties. And they want to come and get a library card in our county. And when we say, well, that's going to be $40, big font, big fee. They're like, well, why can't I? And, they basically build their McMansion on just across the border from the county, and they want to still use our services, but they don't want to pay the taxes. So pay me now, pay me later.
Taxes paid for civilization.
Yeah, they seem to miss that point sometimes.
$40 seems pretty reasonable. Maybe I'll get
I
a card.
know.
I'll apply for
Well-
a card in your neighborhood.
I always tell
Does-
them to complain to their county commissioner,
Yeah,
Well, I
which
mean,
is not one of ours because they don't live in our
$40 is
county.
far cheaper. $40 is far cheaper than the taxes they would be paying.
Oh, probably, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some people actually, it's cheap enough that they buy some little tiny postage stamp piece of land and claim to be a property owner, and that counts. So anyway, I learned a lot when I moved to the South that I didn't realize about some folks. I used to believe Bleeding Heart liberal. Now I'm like, you didn't pay your taxes. You didn't pay for fire service, so your house burned down. What do you want me to do about it? My attitude changed a lot.
Yeah, but the incident where the fire department let the dogs burn to death, yeah, a little over the top for me.
Yeah, you should save the dogs. I'll agree
Yeah.
with that one.
Well, not sure what the situation is now, but there used to be, well, I live in Montgomery County, Maryland, and we have the county library system, and then there's Tacoma Park, which has its own library. And at the time I got my Tacoma Park card, the county would pay the non-resident fee. I suppose any of the surrounding counties would do that. Probably not.
So going back, so I still hung up on this patron renewal thing. Or curious, I guess is a better word. So like it's just looking at address and phone number, I'm guessing. So like there's no way to confirm that they changed their email or yeah, okay.
I don't think so. We haven't really looked into email, but we've been, so we're just getting started. So this is like phase one of things. I know that I think the UMS collections accounts can hold email addresses to notify them by email instead of printed mail,
Yeah.
but it doesn't do anything for updating email for the system, but it does no, I think it just does their address. I don't even think
Just
phone
that.
number is included.
They are sending a notice by email saying, hey, we've renewed your account for you.
Mm-hmm.
But well, if that bounces, it's no good anymore. And you could probably
Yeah.
get a report that says these are all the notices that bounced, and then go into your Koha and clean those up. I
Yeah.
actually do that with another notice system that we have. I get a report every day or once a week that says these all bounced so it's technically not designed to do that, but you can get that information, at least that it's no longer valid.
Yeah, I do that once a week. We're using MessageBee as well, so this
Mhm.
partners with it quite nicely. And I get their report. I can download it once a week or every day if I wanted to. And the
Mhm.
nice thing about the renewals is it also say on their admin page if it was renewed, and then like the address that they had versus the address that we reported. If it was renewed and they moved, if it was removed and they moved in the area, like what the category is. So if it was something where it wasn't just a Arlington to Arlington adjustment or no adjustment at all. And then if it's not renewed, it also says that and says why. So I can look at their address, and like somebody moved to New Mexico the other day, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I was like, okay, this person's in Tennessee, that one's in New Mexico, that person's in California. I'm like, yeah, their cards are no longer valid. So
Rebecca, I have a
it's
quick question. On
Yeah.
your, on the stuff, does it have, how specific does it have to be as far as like in the address, whether it's written out lane or drive versus DR or LN or Texas versus TX or?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, our states are all formatted for 2 letters. We use 5 and 5+4 UPS or USPS zip codes. It just depends on the account. We're kind of lackadaisical about that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure if they format it a certain way and then send it back. I haven't actually, most of the ones I've seen have been like, either they've moved out of state because it's just started. So either they've moved out of state where they're rejected, or the renewal has been in the area. So
Yeah, we've been using our GIS by manually doing it, nothing automated. And if we had stuff that was, your address was 123 Mockingbird Lane, and you wrote it out in your application and it's stored as LANE, GIS would not recognize it with the LN. It would say those were 2 different addresses. And so that's why I was asking what tolerance it had for variations on a theme.
yeah, I don't honestly know 100% to say, but I could test it if you want to send me your email and I can let you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Rebecca put $1,000 in the chat, and several of them are about permissions.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had specific questions there. Just wanted to wave them at people and say, please go vote for my permissions bugs.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And then you also posted a bug looking for the ability to like append onto the end of a patron note when doing a batch
Sure.
modification.
Circ or OPAC, yeah.
Yeah.
The problem is right now, if I'm doing a batch update where I'm saying like bounced email address or something, if they already have notes existing on their account, it overwrites it completely. So it's extra time for me. I have to go through and unselect any account that has notes that are important, like, bad behavior or fines or things like that. So it's just one of those things that's annoying.
And I would have sworn that we had made borrower modification use regular expressions back when we did the same to items and bibs, but apparently we have not. Because if you could use a regular expression substitution there, you can use that to append, but apparently no. Anyway, I commented on your bug to say like, well, we could do regular expressions. It would be even more a tool than they're asking for.
I mean, ideally, I would love to see something like the messages the notes be like the messages, so that you could say, this person made this note on this day and it's logged and we have it and there's a record of it, instead of the messages I get like blocked card. Well, who blocked it? Why did they block it? I know that's just more of a staff training thing, but no matter how much I beg people to put proper notes on, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, we do that. We have a format where we put the year, the month, and the day, and then our initials, because we're a smaller library. And that is our functionality for all messages, even for the messages that give us the automated date and time of entry and who did it. But I would love to have, basically, if we make a note anywhere that's a text field, I wish it would automatically put in which user put it in and what the date and time was and all that.
We've told our staff to just use the messages and stay out of notes. And we try to keep notes just for like, this is going on your permanent record stuff, which general staff shouldn't be doing. I mean, it's for stuff who are people who have been barred, and we have a whole process that goes all the way to the county mayor. It's like, you are no longer allowed to set foot in the Knox County Public Library system anywhere. kind of messages. And then I was taking a look to see what might be showing up in there, because we can't really control who has access to it from a Koha perspective and permissions. I was like, what in the world are people putting in there? It turned out people were putting in, staff were trying to be helpful, what looked like passwords to me and pins. So basically what they were doing is they were using it as a place where they could help a person by remembering their PIN for it, because the password field is masked. Like, are you people crazy? So they were just putting their passwords in clear text so when Ms. Jones came in, they could tell her what her PIN was.
Yeah, we use the
days.
what I call the red messages as
Yeah.
action, you know, what you need to deal with for that patron, that next
Found the
visit
card
or
at the
whatever.
circulation desk, something,
Yep,
yeah.
that sort of
And then
stuff.
delete it
And
when
then
you've
the-
dealt with it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the notes is the historical bad behavior,
Yeah,
you know,
That's
don't
what
let
we're
them set
trying to
foot in
do.
here.
Some people just says like, "Ooh, this is a place where I can put their password so I can tell her what it is when she calls next time."
I think it's we have one of them like we had Lucas turn off one of them. I think it's the notes, and because we have the red text on patron accounts, just because for staff it's just too confusing to be like, put something here but not here. And for our purposes, like using just the one field works fine.
And we know we can hide it from everybody but super librarians pretty easily, but it's some non-super librarians who actually need access to it. So it's like supervisors only kind of level
But
managers.
I will say, I wish that when you did a batch update or whatever, and you put additional notes in, that it didn't erase all of what's there and
Mhm.
only put in what you did. That it would either prepend or append the what is already in that field.
And I thought I saw a bug that allowed batch editing to add and modify the messages, the red messages. But I just remembered that off the top of my head. I don't know the bug number, which would
put
be
that in
really
the
nice, because
chat.
sometimes I just want to add all of these people need this message today for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's
Like their email
27123.
bounced when I'm going through the bounced emails.
Yeah, I recently had to send a bunch of custom patron messages out. I was like, where's the batch sheet for this? And then there it is. It just got passed. It's great.
It's coming
Yeah.
someday.
That would be super helpful for, your email is over quota. We don't actually block the accounts for those. It's just like, hey. And then I look and I have like 19 on one account and I'm just like, really? Block the account. Update your email.
Yeah, I usually don't block them, but I do want to put a message on there about why they don't have an email on their account anymore and they're no longer getting their notices by email.
Yeah.
Because your message bounced. What do you want me to do?
Calling out some of the other things that have appeared in the chat. Christie put in a bug about account renewals, tie account renewals to patron modification requests, which seems cool. It seems like an idea for sort of getting patrons' accounts to renew when they ask for a modification. That seems reasonable. If anyone wants to get in there and make opinions known. Sally shared the bug that drives me crazy about how reports display when you use the update and run SQL button. Oh, I hate that update and run SQL button. I love it and I hate it.
I found myself duplicating multiple reports until I realized that the edit button was no longer under edit. It moved. Like, wait.
Has
Yeah.
anyone been having the problem at the bottom where you get that little SQL thing of your report?
Yeah, it just
Yeah, that's
keeps
it.
repeating saved SQL equals blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Okay, not just me. Good. Okay. It's annoying.
I think I saw in that they've got it fixed for the next patch. So
Yeah.
hopefully they'll get it back to the way it was.
And then Charlie had holds problems. Charlie, I wasn't clear. Are you on 2405 now or are you not yet updated?
I am. I haven't heard anything new related to these bugs, but the last time I had an issue where like library A had a hold for an item that was at library B, for example, was like at the right before the update went through. So I haven't heard anything new. So I'm hoping it got fixed. But I was wondering if anybody else had like problem with their holds queue, because with the new update, there was also, I couldn't have access to my built-in holds queue, for example, and just a couple of stuff with my holds queue. But yeah, if anybody else has seen anything like this.
Well, I know several folks said they're getting the same hold showing up on 2 different holds queues.
Yeah.
But
That too.
I don't know that I've heard other holds queue issues. Or at least not any that are sufficiently, I don't know.
It was a couple of bugs. I think I put 2 in the chat, but there was one, I think there was a total of like 4 bugs shared on the Bywater ticket I sent in. The first bug was fixed, but then they saw that it was still kind of going on, so they had to reopen it, kind of thing. I can put all of those bugs in the chat if anything, but yeah, anything to do with holds queue, we've been having issue with it for the past couple of months, and yeah, wondered if anybody else was seeing the same kind of issue, and how do I fix it? Yeah.
Not particularly.
Are you
Okay.
using the real-time holds queue, real-time, Charlie?
So with the new update, we had to, what I think that they did is that they're using our alternate holds queue, which I believe is a ticket on Wiki right now. But yeah, it should be as up to date as it should be up to date.
Okay, I just wondered if you had that real-time holds queue syspref turned on, because we don't, so we're not seeing. I think some of this stuff seems to be related to that, maybe.
Okay, now.
Yeah, no, I hope that we don't have things in transit showing up on the holds queue. That would be an even bigger mess than I've already got.
My life with tickets was mostly holds queue the past since January, I think. Which one? I don't know why I'm blanking. Which syspref?
I think it's just called real-time holds queue, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, real-time holds queue.
Oh, it's disabled.
Okay, well, that was gonna be what I would say was causing it, but because we have it disabled too, and we're not seeing those issues. How often does your holds queue run? Like, do you know how often your cron runs?
I don't know, but we run holds queue at least for each, because so we've got 14 branches and we run our holds queue at least twice a day for most branches. So I want to say fairly.
I think the default's usually an hour. I know that at one point we were having lots of problems early on. So we ramped it up to 15 minutes. Every
Yeah.
15 minutes our queue refreshes, and that seemed to solve a lot of problems for us just because it was getting rid of the stale stuff faster.
Do you not have problems with, it was on branch A's list and then it ran 15 minutes later, now it's on branch B's list? Or does it just
No,
stay on A's list?
That's what the transfer cost matrix
It takes
helps
care of
us
that for you.
avoid.
Yeah.
So I've got that set up in like 5 different tiers. So it's gonna hang out on one library's queue for a while before, unless
Okay.
it gets marked missing, and then go down to the next tier.
Yeah, we've got 18 buildings that circulate, so I've got our non-real-time holds queue set for about three times a day. Because we're not using the transfer cost maintenance to manage it better. That seemed to keep it from being too updated too frequently, but updated often enough that people were getting a morning list, an afternoon list, and then one for the folks in the evening. You should be able to see how often your cron is set to run from the action logs.
Yeah.
It'll tell you if you look on like yesterday's action logs for the execute, you should see those cron jobs.
Here, let
Difference
me,
being when your staff go and look at the list versus the script that creates the list.
those action logs are here in tools under the log viewer. If I say, show me cron jobs
yes.
from yesterday, this is going to give me a bunch of stuff. And I should just do this. And see, actually, we're not running the holds queue cron because we are using the real-time holds queue. So I'm just seeing my process message queue a whole bunch. In theory, I think I could put holds queue in the info box. I can never remember if those inherently truncate themselves on search or not. Man.
It seems like. Sorry, I'm gonna share mine, just
Yeah.
to. Seems like it might be with under an hour.
Build
Okay.
queues, there it is.
Yeah.
It's running that. I don't know enough about the holds queue.
Yeah, actually.
If it's
Well-
running that frequently, could that?
Now let's see. So you've got the holds queue starting at 2303, and then the previous one was 2203.
Looks like hourly.
Yeah, so I think you're okay. You've just got the message queue in there.
But if you aren't using the transport cost matrix, like we're not, that could be why they're saying it's duplicated, but it really is just it just scrambles the list every time. So if someone has a list that was actually created from a cron that run an hour ago, that may no longer be accurate. Let's say they printed it off at 11:55, 5 minutes before the next one runs. It's no longer an accurate queue picture of what your queue looks like now. So like I said, we went to 3 times a day and that seems to be okay. And we let staff know, okay, they're at like 7 a.m., 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. If you're looking at 12:30, you might want to wait half an hour.
Oh, so you actually give them like set times. We just have them run it whenever.
Right, but there's 2 separate processes. There's the cron job that creates the queue and it's just a static list until the cron runs again. And then it creates a whole new list. And then your staff just go and look at the list. So if your staff look at the list right before a new one is created and they print it out, it stops being relevant when the cron job runs again and creates a whole new list. So you got to think of it as 2 different things.
Okay.
That may be what you're running into with the duplicates. It's not technically duplicated, it's just moved to someone else's list.
And
Yeah,
for us,
unless
the
you're having
duplicates
instances.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Unless you're having instances, Charlie, where like you run the queue for branch A and you see the book there, and you run it immediately for branch B and you see it there as well.
Yeah, for us, the duplicates are absolute duplicates. If I run the holds queue for all libraries and I sort it, I can see 2 rows for that one hold. And if I go into the record, there's only 1 hold. So there's definitely something broken on that.
You know what? Thank you. That helps give me a picture. So I appreciate it. I'm gonna do some more research.
The holds queue is weird, and I wish the real-time holds queue was more reliable because it really has a lot of promise to make the holds queue less weird. On that hopeful note, we're a little past time, but any last questions? Anything you just cannot bear to leave this meeting without talking about? Well, okay. Thanks, y'all,
Thank
for
you.
a
Thanks,
lively
everybody.
and energetic discussion. See you next month.